Hi, everyone. Welcome back again. This is your astrological reading for the week of September 17th through the 23rd. And we have the first day of fall coming in this week, which is, of course, the time when we move into Libra season. Yay! So, anyway, let me swap out cameras and bring you over my table. I'll show you these charts one day at a time. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so just in case you're new and you haven't been listening to me every week, let me go over the backdrop that's going on. Long-term transits. So with Pluto up here squaring the nodes, and today the moon's involved, so that's for Sunday. It's like wow. Anyway, so Pluto squaring the nodes is our opportunity. When you see Pluto, just think of most of all transformation, your evolution, our personal evolution that helps bring us back into the power of love and peace that we are naturally inside. It takes a lot of work, to get inside of all that and let the other distortions go. But we can do it. We do it in every lifetime. We can, with Pluto, I always look at it as like, okay, we're going there whether we want to or not. We are literally we are literally hardwired to evolve, to come back home to who we truly are. So we can get there either kicking and screaming, or we can just decide that's the track we want to jump on. And it's a slow path. It goes back and forth. It's a spiraling in when it comes to pulling out the weeds of false beliefs. We just have to remember that it's our belief systems that organize our reality. And if you understand that you're creating your own reality, even though it's not perfect here on Earth, so it's not going to be a perfect process. And if we grab hold of this need to be perfect, or things need to be perfect, otherwise it doesn't work, we're stuck in duality. We're stuck in that trap of duality, which is the way the Earth is set up. We have to rise above that. Maybe that's what people call ascension. I don't know. I just look at it as all personal evolution. So that's us personally. When it comes to politicians, dirty judges, greedy corporations, greedy, CEOs all over the world, just anybody that's steeped in thinking that they're better than the rest of us and they deserve to be paid much, much more, like incomprehensible amounts of money just because they're all that. So basically narcissistic, born psychopaths, malignant narcissists, sociopaths. Those are all the hallmarks of, well, it can be Pluto in many different signs, but when it comes to the hallmarks of the lower vibration, I should say, of Pluto in any given sign. But when it comes to Capricorn, we are in that realm of the government, banking, insurance companies, any corporations. So we are witnessing with this late degree of Pluto, and Pluto's retrograde, late degree Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. It won't go direct until October 10th. It's been retrograde since May. So, it's moving very slowly, and it's like just working it. And with this square to the south node of the past and the north node of the future, it's all on full display. We are seeing what's not fair, what is unjust, what is unequal, which needs to be fixed. And from that perspective of understanding the past, then we can move forward courageously into the future. And again, with the polarities of the nodal axis in Aries and Libra, I did a special video just on that. So if you know your own chart, you can go to that video and see how it'll go for you over this, let's see, how long have we been in it? Since July. So yeah, it's about 1.5 years transit through each axis. Next, and it goes backwards. Next, it'll go into Pisces and Virgo. Or if you use the Vedic system, then theirs is different. They're back further already. So anyway, that's probably a little distraction here. I've tried both, and I stuck with Western tropical for a good reason, or for my own reasons. But I'm not here to put down anyone else's system. So with the stellium, this Aries stellium, just think of putting Mars over here, because this gives us an extra oomph of Mars energy, because Mars rules Aries. With this Libra stellium over here in the south node of the past, this is like putting Venus on the south node, or Venus, because Venus rules Libra. Venus also rules Taurus. So we have a lot of, just cosmic intelligence. We live in this Milky Way. We're in a spiral galaxy, and we will keep spinning through whatever issues we need to go through until things have been worked out and we've come into truth, into the wholeness of truth, that we are all equal beings. And, women are not less. So we're revisiting all of the, these Roe v. Wade's reproductive, the reproductive system, all of that, these rights that we should intrinsically have, who should have never had to fight for them. But hey, that's the big process of incarnating on Earth, is that this is an equal opportunity planet. And, we're having to, where everything gets to be worked out over and over again until it's done. And, and then at some point we don't have to reincarnate here, and maybe we're in a higher dimension. But the highest dimension that we came from, I believe, is where it's 100% love and unity and bliss. And you can't even, imagine, you can't even have a negative thought, right? So, but we come here to work through the things we need to work through, because here on this planet of duality, it's right in our face. So, what's right in our face at this time has to do with the North Node being joined up with Eris. Now, Eris, and Chiron's not far behind, but look at this 1 degree of separation here. Actually, less than that. Yeah, because Eris is at 2459. Of course, so when you see the red numbers, this means that these planets are retrograde. Eris is a dwarf planet, just like Pluto. I give her just as much importance as Pluto, maybe more, because Pluto takes 243 to 248 years to get around the zodiac. Eris takes 558. So, the one that sticks in there the longest is always the one that's going to win. And she is our female representation of Pluto and Mars. We can often say in evolutionary astrology, we often say that Mars, which is now in Libra, is like Pluto's little brother. Well, I would say grandmama, Earth Mama, the, great mother, is now in the sign of Aries, and we're going that way whether we want to or not. And women are not backing down. Women are fighting. It's going to be the younger generation that saves us with adding to our vote, because us older ones are dropping off. And we set the tone. We set the tone back in, Woodstock days during the 60s and 70s, and all those, brave men and women who stood up to fight for women's rights and civil rights, right? All the civil rights in the 60s. Everything is on the table again. So that's where we are. That's why we have this polarity of Aries and Libra going on, because we're balancing that out. And so every step we take on our path towards what brings through more courage, what helps us to initiate our own inner uniqueness in whatever way we want, to assert our unique individuality, that is what moves us forward. Now, it's trailblazing. It's literally blazing your own trail on your own path. And there's a lot of soul substance locked up into past lifetimes where things were not fair. And that's with the moon here conjunct the south node today, Sunday. And it's earlier in the morning even than 7 a.m. And every hour that goes by, it will, the moon will become closer and closer until it crosses over. But if you have some wild dreams on Saturday night, or you wake up Sunday morning and go, whoa, what was that? Or maybe you got a juicy piece of information. Like, I'll never, ever forget the dream I had of dying in a gas chamber. And I got deeply in touch with the false belief of what was coming through as I was taking my last breaths, like dying and going, what did I do wrong? Oh, I woke up and went, oh, that's it. Thinking a false belief, thinking that I was bad or wrong and that I didn't matter just because somebody else was taking me out. It's like, what? I reflected on everything in my lifetime, this lifetime, and I'm like, well, man, that makes so much sense. So if you have something like that come through for you, trust it. Do not negate it in any way. Do not think it's crazy, because we are always, 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 remember, trying to transform. You can look at Pluto as the transformation of the soul, the journey of the soul in its transformational process on the way back home to who you really are. So this Libra moon and Mars is, moving pretty quickly. We'll eventually get to the South Node. We are going to see so much fight for justice coming through over the coming weeks. And yeah, and again, it takes a while for the nodes to move, and they go backwards, and Eris is just sitting there. Even when she goes direct, it's still going to be about the same degree, right? Like Eris was 8 degrees Aries when I was born in 1954, and so here I am pushing 70, and still hasn't made it through the whole sign, right? So I venture to guess that most of you who are listening were born with Eris in Aries, and we are all spiritual warriors here, fighting the I guess you could call it the good fight. As long as we're not steeped in hatred and wanting to kill the other ones just because they're wrong or they're fascist or they're whatever, they don't agree, or they're gullible and in a cult. As long as we're not wanting to take someone else out or put them down, what we really need to do is just keep sending them lots of love. But I know how challenging it is, and I definitely have my moments of not staying fully aligned. So that's the battle there, right? Peace versus I want to kill somebody. Equality and peace versus I just want to run away from them. That's the thing with oppositions. If you can remember, I have the red lines that are 180 degrees apart. Just think of confrontations. And is a confrontation loving or is it destructive? And if it's loving, then we can create breakthroughs. The confrontations can be like, hold on, let me find my other chopstick. Just think of 2 mirrors. One's here and one's here. And working off of each other. And that is especially the way to see the polarity of Aries and Libra, because it's like me versus them, right? So there's a lot about this transit, this polarity of this nodal axis, and we have until January 11th 2025 to work through this. So the issues are what to take action on, what's worth fighting for, and what needs balancing out with justice and equality. And it may very well involve, the masculine, divine masculine and divine feminine, which in a spiritual realm is not separate, but on earth we tend to feel that it's separate. And so it's really important to not get on the bandwagon of all men are bad or all women are stupid or all women, those types of false beliefs, or I guess I could just say mind traps would not help. They just won't help. So let's go ahead and move on. So notice that the sun is at 24 degrees Virgo. I love this. Uranus is over here at 22 degrees Taurus. And then, of course, powerful Pluto is up here at 28 degrees Capricorn. So we've been going through this grand Earth trine that we had, I think, pretty much all last week. And we have it, I think we don't lose it until Thursday or Friday, but then, oops, I'm sorry. I've got a new setup over here, and I literally have these, what do you call, tripod legs right over here. So sorry about that, because that probably made a loud clink. Anyway, with the grand Earth trine, we still have another 3 or 4 days at least left of it, and then the moon will come in, or no, not the moon. Oh, I think it's Mercury? No, I think it's Mercury. Oh, it might be the sun that comes in first, but there's another later on as we get into the week, because I remember getting the charts together, that we have some really, really good aspects happening. And so the grand Earth trine is there for us to help manifest, like literally into earthly reality, whatever we've been working on. And with Uranus involved, especially over with the sun, all through, see, I'm doing this reading on Thursday, but it could be, and this is the new moon Thursday as well. This is a very powerful new moon in Virgo. And with, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, as soon as I get this uploaded, once you get it, start setting your intentions. Hopefully you started setting them last week, actually. But with this grand Earth trine going on involving the sun and Uranus, we could have some major breakthroughs, ideas that come through. Because with the sun at that ripe degree of 24 degrees Virgo, that's really beautiful for details coming through. Virgo is all about healing. It can have to do with, our health and our hygiene. It can have to do with our work and our service and the details. Like finally the truth about what you've been trying to figure out, it has come through. You've got the details as to what really happened and what needs to happen in order to fix it, whatever it is. Virgo's a very fix-it type of sign. So it's all about being with the sun in Virgo, Mercury in Virgo here, and this new moon that's, I'm speaking to it now because you're in it. If you're watching this video before Sunday, you're still in the Virgo energy. What's happening is we're bringing some divine order some way into our lives. If we're really working it well, we're figuring out what works for us and what doesn't. What foods, what amounts of certain foods we can handle, what just everything that has to do with the smooth running of your daily life is all Virgo energy. Now, and wanting to bring in the order. So if you're having trouble, if you have any trouble with the new moon, it might have to do with feeling like this new moon with Virgo, or the moon in Virgo, or Mercury in Virgo, or sun in Virgo. If you have any trouble with Virgoian energy, is that a word, Virgoian? I don't know. I doubt it. I just made it up. If you have any trouble with Virgo energy, it might be around the realms or within the vein of feeling like you need to be perfect in order to be valuable. And that is not true at all. In fact, I think most people kind of love the imperfections. I mean, there's a lot of comedy around making an ass out of yourself, right? I mean, I've done it. I do it all the time. I think I do it every Saturday in the live stream, not meaning to, but it's like, you're just yourself, and I tend to do that. But if I were to hold that back, can you imagine what that would feel like? Because you guys would all feel that. Everyone feels when somebody's not being real. And that's what Virgo does, is it ferrets out what's real and what isn't. So trust it. Virgo's sensitive. Pisces is sensitive. Neptune and Saturn over here in the sign of Pisces is heightening our sensitivities like nobody's business. And to have the sun in opposition to Neptune, There it is. I mean, it's like sensitive details, compassionate details, source energy, information literally coming through. Again, with that. And with the sun, you've probably been sitting here going, I wonder when she's going to start talking about the kite. See the kite here? The sun is at the tail, like holding the rudder. And the point is up in Neptune land. So again, Neptune, besides being source energy, it has everything to do with, like I said, sensitivity or numbness. It can help us transcend the old, like false belief, and create more order because of its polarity with Virgo. Or it can, pull us down into a rabbit hole that we need to dissolve and work our way out of. So you just think of with Pisces and with Neptune, because Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, think of no boundaries, right? Just open, pure potential to create something new. And then think of Virgo as wanting to create order and not liking chaos. So Virgo energy is useful for creating order. And if that order is coming from your spirit, because, Neptune's all things related to spirituality and our creativity from those highest realms, then we've got something beautiful that can come through. And it was happening last week, and it's still, it's continuing on for another several days, until we get until we probably get to the sun. Yeah, until we get to Saturday with the sun in Libra. You'll probably see that red line there, but it's waning. Right now it's approaching, and it's stronger energy. The approaching energy is always stronger. The approaching transits are always stronger than the exact hit is there too, but you're feeling it, and then the exact hit comes. So when the sun gets to in a couple days, 26 degrees, we're going to feel this. So all week long. So this is a really good weekend for setting intentions, for getting inside the details and working on those spiritual projects that you've got going on. And maybe it's nothing more than I shouldn't say nothing more. Maybe it is what seems like little to you, but it's sitting down and praying and meditating on peace, and especially helping the earth heal. Things like that are so powerful. And guidance, you can expect guidance to come through as well. I saw a little thing on Washington Post this morning, because I'm subscribed to their like climate change, whatever, column and category, I guess you'd call it. And so if anybody is in the of the like mind of wanting to sew with a sewing machine, they're saying now's the time to start thinking of all types of cooling clothing. Like they had a cooling vest that they predicted was going to be the big thing. So how about cooling hats, like things to cool down? I guess there's special types of gels and things like that well, I'd imagine you could put it in the fridge or the freezer and then put your hat on. It'd be kind of heavy at first, might be too heavy at all. But maybe it would just have one little gel thing in there, and that could get you on your hike, like those ways to, cool down. And then, of course, we know about all the SPF technology that's already in the clothing. So look at all these inventions. I knew this was happening even more. When Uranus, the planet of invention, is in the sign of Taurus, this has to do with safety. So more safety inventions as we go. I can't wait to see how it's going to go when we have Jupiter conjunct Uranus. Although it's not good for earthquakes. And my heart still goes out to all those in Morocco. My goodness. Okay, so I think you can see clearly that a kite aspect is two aspects of the architect facing each other with a trine coming across. So the two aspects of the architect have everything to do with building building something from your spiritual self that can be manifest in the physical realm, and there are breakthroughs with the sun in Virgo connecting within that aspect. And then again, here's a double whammy of breakthrough energy with Uranus at this end. And this sextile from Uranus to Neptune, Neptune is at the center point of the sextile up to Pluto. So opportunities with sextiles for new inventions, for breaking free, for getting your finances in order, for forging new projects to help you make money, or just manifest more peace and beauty and bliss in your life with Taurus. And most of all, self-preservation, your faith to your principles, whatever your principles are. And we get to try those things out. You know, with Jupiter, the planet of beliefs, we always get to try out what works and what doesn't. And in Taurus, and then especially with this, transit of the Sun and Mercury, and when we had Mars in Virgo, I know it's a lot of energy to handle, but I bet a lot of information came through as to what works and what doesn't. Because again, back to, creating order with Virgo. So, yeah. Okay, now I have to talk about this inconjunct here. There's a double inconjunct coming from the Sun. Inconjuncts those little green lines there with the like upside or sideways K. It looks like a K. What this is about are adjustments that need to be made. So the Sun in Virgo is going to bring through some information, shine the light on something to help us focus in on the direction we need to go. And from there, I think that's a great adjustment to work with. We also have, because we've been going through that finger of fate, but you can see it's broken up now. But we also have Neptune on this side over here with this inconjunct to the South Node. That is, we have that going on for quite some time. I can't remember the exact date that it shifts, but I think it's December 6th or 7th. No, it's Neptune's retrograde. That's what's going on. Neptune's retrograde, I remember now, through December 6th or 7th. And that this quincunx up here lasts for a few more days after that. So let's just call it the first week in December, somewhere in there. We have this adjustment here this aspect here holding space for us to make attitude adjustments to be more fully on our spiritual path. So whatever you've been moving towards, whatever the thing is that you love doing that makes you, you know how when you're doing what you love, you just like time goes by really quick and you can't believe that like 3 hours went by and you were fully focused on this one thing. That's your thing. And you might have several of your things, right? Or the things that are your thing. So yeah. Okay, what else? We have Venus is at 15 degrees Leo, squaring Jupiter. So and Venus is direct now, not out of the retro shade yet, but she's direct. So we're moving forward, coming from the heart, more able to express ourselves and get into our creative self-expression, which is what Leo is all about, and the courage to do it. It's squaring Jupiter in Taurus over here, and Taurus can be somewhat timid or stubborn because in Taurus there's the fear of, oh, but can I really do it? Or feeling overwhelmed. There's that possibility of feeling overwhelmed with Taurus energy. Because Taurus, like Cancer, most of all wants security. Both of those signs are very security oriented. Because just think, in the process, like Aries is here, and this is like the first gateway of consciousness. And it's literally nothing more than, I'm here and I need to go there. Or I'm here, and now what? kind of thing. Well, now what is that? Oh, I have a body. Oh, crap. Now I'm hungry. Oh, now I'm wet. Now I need, just think of being a baby, right? And then Mercury ruling Virgo here. Virgo, what am I saying? Gemini. Gemini brings in that energy of I can communicate, I can think, I can connect dots, or I'm trying to make those connections, right? The processes of growing. And then, of course, with Cancer, there's more of the growing pains because you're sensitive and you can feel everything, and because of everything you've been through, you really want that security. But by the time we get to Leo, we have more courage in that whole process. This whole lower hemisphere process down here is very oriented to our inner reality. And then by the time we hit the Libra, ascending up to this other side, or that transit up to the more outer reality, Libra brings in relationships and then resources, and then with Scorpio, and then Sag with more direction in your belief system, and Capricorn with, okay, I know I got all, this is done, I get it, and so this is how I participate with society, basically. And then you have your friends and groups and loved ones that you connect with more deeply, your kindred spirits with the 11th house. And then the 12th house is where we complete some karma and we bring forth everything that we have from all of our past lifetimes, and then we're out again. So there's all that Aries energy. We're all moving towards that, and we've all had who knows how many hundreds or thousands of lifetimes to get to this place that we're at. So that's the weekly overview. Let's go ahead and go to Monday. And Monday, I just want to focus on the moon aspects because I've already talked about everything else that will be in effect for the week. The moon has crossed over the south node. It's landed, I clocked this at 4 a.m. on Monday the 18th, but you could imagine it was probably more like midnight or even 11 p.m. when the moon actually moved into Scorpio. But the moon is involved with, and it was, I think, yesterday too. It was, I remember, the moon involved with Pluto. So there's deep insights, and the insights have to do with, oh, can I trust that person? Oh, there's some secrets coming out that I didn't realize. Can I trust myself to know how to handle myself in that relationship, right? Because with the moon in Libra, we had a lot of relationship things going on. And then when it comes to Scorpio energy, it brings up intimacy issues, and it can sometimes be a little intensely geared towards crisis, but Scorpios are good in handling crisis. They make Virgos and Scorpios make good nurses and doctors, and anyone geared with the rescuing and helping and supporting other people. So EMS, EMT, firefighters, they usually all have prominent Scorpio energy in their charts, and Virgo too. Although Leo, it depends. I've seen it all pretty much, but not like me with my 4 planets in the South Node in Cancer. You wouldn't see me doing that. I'll be more courageous protecting kids, but I won't be out there. I won't be out there looking at the what's going on the road and trying to help with stuff like that. That's not me. So, but we get the lifetime we get. We incarnate with the pattern in our chart to work through whatever we need to work through. So with the moon in Scorpio, it's always important to embrace the opposite polarity, which is Taurus. So can you trust yourself when things are intense? And do you really need to trust everyone else? If you trust yourself, you'll know where the other person is trustworthy or not. And not everyone, people are complex individuals, and some people won't be trustworthy in some areas, but then very trustworthy in others. So if you can differentiate that, if you can make those Virgo distinctions with Mercury and the Sun in Virgo, then you're fine. It's just Certain people you wouldn't loan your car to, certain people you wouldn't give your credit card to, certain people you wouldn't even loan a jacket to, or a sweater, or anything else like that, unless you don't care about getting it back. Right? Or how it came back to you. Things like that. Or you learn your lessons over, I'm speaking to myself now, but do I loan out this book, or do I, do they think I just gave it to them because I never got it back? Things like that. You learn the hard way. And then later on, you, with your, Virgo sensibility comes through at some point in your chart, and you connect the dots, remember backwards in time. So things like that. And I'm speaking to all those things more intensely than I normally would, because the moon in Scorpio has this square to Pluto. Pluto's up here in a T-square to the nodes. And then, of course, with Eris over here, we're going to have a lot more, courage. We just have to be careful about, with Eris in this stellium of Aries, we have to be careful about needing to come first, needing to be right, and especially with Virgo energy, beating yourself up when something goes wrong, thinking it's all your fault and you're bad and you just can't ever, do anything. That's just ridiculous. And then that's especially true with Mercury in this semi-square to the south node. There will need to be some action taken. Whenever we have a semi-square, the only way to, it's like having an itch. You have to scratch it or put something protective over the area so that it will stop itching. Action is needed. And the action that would be needed, I would think, would have to do with information that's coming out about inequality. Right, and we're seeing that with all the political issues going on. Now they're out to impeach Biden when he doesn't. There's no impeachable offense, and they're not even going to take a vote on it. They're just going to get it together. They're not even going to take a House vote on it because they know they wouldn't win. It wouldn't pass. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. I think they're probably just putting themselves in that big flush that's going to go down the toilet pretty soon. You can see another semi-square here between Chiron and Saturn. So again, this is Trumpian, like, oh, I'm the victim. They're trying to ruin me. I am your retribution, and all these other whinings that's going on coming out of him. And then what's on the other side of that is people with the greater gift of trusting their instincts. Chiron and Aries can be that greatest gift of trusting who you are and your unique individuality, and you're not going to abandon yourself anymore, and you're not going to leave yourself out of any equation anymore, and you're going to put the kibosh, when it comes to voting time, on these dirty politicians, because Saturn, it definitely rules the government. And Saturn rules Capricorn, right? So between Pluto and Capricorn and Saturn and Pisces, it's not a good time for people stuck in a cult. And especially with Saturn in this trine over here to the moon today. Look at that. That's great. So it's a good day for trusting yourself. Okay, let's move forward. Tuesday, we still have the Scorpio moon, of course, but now it has worked its way, and it will work its way to oppose Uranus as well. But let's talk about this opposition first, and then I'll bring in the others. So remember, the moon intuits. In Scorpio, it's intense intuition. It's psychic intuition. It's, well, on one side, you have to be careful with the fear of betrayal. And you have to be careful about not going deep enough because of the fear of betrayal. But the moon brings through something that you can respond to, some intuition, something that nurtures your inner, those depths within that just know, you don't know how you know, but you know, right? So possibly direct knowing comes through with this, and the reason I'm saying that is because we've got this opposition to Jupiter. Jupiter in Taurus is very in the bones, in the body, knowing, in the tummy even, right? With Taurus. And Jupiter is our belief system. Jupiter is always helping us to heal. It expands and opens things up, right? And with the South Node in Libra, that is cardinal expansive energy. So is the North Node, where we have a polarity going on here of cardinal energy. Cardinal energy opens things up. With Jupiter and Taurus, it's all about the sensitivities in the body and the intuition. Empathic abilities. Empathic abilities are being felt by more and more people because of Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. In retrograde, no less. All the retrogrades, remember, retrogradation means inner opportunities for work, inner revelations, inner reevaluating things. So yeah, it's good. Now, with the moon opposing Jupiter, there might be a little crisis of conscience, like you're aware of something, and then you're like, oh God, do I say something about it? Because this could be a friend, and it's like there's some lack of integrity going on, you figure out. And then do you say something about it, or do you just send him lots of love, but now you know what you know, and you're not going to trust them in that area again. And yeah, you know what I mean? Like a racist comment comes out, and then maybe you call them out on it, or say, oh my goodness, do you really mean that? Or do you realize what you just said? And then they might say something like, I didn't say that. And then you're like, oh, okay. So from there, that brings in this other aspect, this other opposition to Uranus. Uranus is like shocking. Taurus, it rules the ears and the jaw and all of that connection there, and the olfactory gland, and things you smell. Just think of doggies or foxes and how they, if you've ever had a beagle, any kind of hound dog, how they're the ones that try to find people, right? And they're the drug sniffing dogs, and well, I guess a lot of them are actually nowadays. Yeah, but when it comes to our empathic overload, I see that's a real possibility here. And then the moon in Scorpio over here is trying to intuit, like, oh, what do I do with that? What do I do with that information? Well, just take a note of it, take a mental note or write it down, and just remember, like, okay, well, now I know. I didn't know before, now I know. So you don't always have to respond. As the moon goes through all the signs, the moon wants to respond to something because it wants to attach to something in order to feel safe. And if we can attach to this belief or that belief, then we feel safe. Well, what if it's about not attaching, but just looking at something because it's out there now, and then just kind of let it go? You can see the moon is also square Venus. So again, there's that opportunity to come from the heart and just let it go. You can see Venus is still squaring Jupiter, and Venus is in a T-square. So Venus, there's a lot of emphasis there on Venus, and Venus wants to unify. Venus doesn't want to separate from other people. Venus doesn't want to, unless you're making comparison, unless you're, checking your values. Venus has everything to do with values. So if the values that are coming through because of any difficulty is not your true value anymore, you will cut it off. You will say, I'm not going there anymore. I'm done. I've done it. I'm guilty of it. But in hindsight, it turned out I was just dancing with darkness, and it was just lessons in, well, I don't need to do that dance anymore, right? You can only forgive so many times, and then you're just like, you wait, because there's only so much energy in the day, right? The older you get, the more you realize that. And those decisions, they mold, and I'm speaking to Libra energy here. Libra makes decisions, and Libra is ruled by Venus. So, our decisions mold our future. So, okay, so let's go ahead and go to Wednesday, again with that kite aspect, but it's up here with the moon. So the grand trine is still there, right? And we talked about that. But now the moon, and the Scorpio moon, is up here at the top, the guiding force, at this very, very ripe degree of, all we have to do is get to 29 degrees. The next degree is Sag. Tomorrow the moon will be in Sag, of course. But at 4 a.m. Wednesday, the 20th, with the moon at 28 degrees Scorpio, opposing, and it was opposing Uranus, like we were talking about, right? We had the opposition to Jupiter and then Uranus. Well, now there is some deeper wisdom that's coming through. And with this kite aspect, it's drawing us back to Uranus being the tail, the rudder. Uranus being a rudder, on one level, that could just be like way too windy of a day to even be flying a kite. Or it could be that there's this deeper awareness that comes through to help us be more free. Because Uranus creates freedom. Uranus, it liberates us on some level. It can have to do with, something disruptive, though, is the problem. But it can also help us detach if need be. Uranus can split things up. And if it has to do with a financial situation or trust issues, betrayal issues, anything like that, this could be an intense day. Could also be because the sun, being part, involved with that grand Earth trine and even involved in the kite as well, and the sun trine Pluto, we are in that realm of a heavy news dump, especially with Mercury there too, Mercury in Virgo. But the sun at that later degree, 27 degrees Virgo, I think Wednesday could be another day where something crazy comes out. And you can see the other aspects are the same that I spoke to before. Venus squaring Jupiter. So let's go ahead to Thursday. Well, before I hit that, let's look at this real quick. The moon sextiling Pluto. There's the opportunity to get very, very grounded in your authority and then move forward from there. And then the moon being at the top with a double sextile going on here to the sun, again, it'll come from some more information and understanding how to create more divine order in your life. So that's great. And with the sun trine Pluto, more power to you. Okay. Let's go to Thursday. Thursday, we have a grand fire trine going on with the moon. So the moon's coming in at 11 degrees Sag at 4 a.m. Pacific time. And it is trine Venus down here in Leo. So again, our creative self-expression, our putting ourselves out there in more ways than we ever have. And it's connected to very intuitive Sag. Now, but Sag can, on the lower level, can be like the dogma of religion. When religion isn't aligned with spiritual law and isn't aligned with truth, and it's coming from control. It can be very self-righteous. Working through that first. Well, we're in the second decan of Sag, so it'll be a little better. But I would say between late last night and early this morning, there could be a little self-righteous type of energy you're seeing on the news. But by 4 this morning, besides this grand fire trine, so from Venus to what is open-hearted, what is loving, what brings more power through your body that's healthy. And can you go in that direction? Because Sag is very directional. Sag is ruled by Jupiter, so we're talking belief systems and which way do I go. It's also one of the travel signs. But then we also have Venus trining Chiron over here. So Chiron to the moon and Venus brings in the mix of, now trines don't always have to be easy. It's just connections. All the aspects don't have to be challenging or easy. They're just there to create connections. Connections are good because connections help us to evolve. So from back to Chiron, Venus, and the moon, it's a process of trusting your intuition as to which direction to go to bring your gifts through that bring in more of, trusting your instincts. This is all very instinctual energy, right? It can be like very spiritually powerful to trust your instincts. And well, of course, when you just naturally go in a certain direction without even thinking about it, as long as you're not reacting to some outer stimuli and you're coming from your inner sense of self, you are in your inner being, moving through time and space, coming through the best of who you are, bringing out the best of who you are. So that's what I really hope happens today for you guys. And with the semi-square on both sides of the moon, again, action is going to need to be taken, and it's coming from the wisdom of the past, and coming from a very either peaceful place of understanding something more deeply, and that bridge to a higher level of consciousness is coming through, or it can be a relationship issue that made you decide to go in a different direction for at least for a while. And then with this semi-square over here to Pluto, this can help, help you come from your inner authority. Okay, so let's go to Friday. Friday we have two aspects of the architect going on. So you can see from Mars, so Mars has made it to 16 degrees Libra. The moon's still in Sag, so it's very directional. But we've got, when it comes to the aspects of the architect, it's a double trine over here from Chiron and Eris down to Venus. So that energy to, again, trust your heart, get inside your creative self-expression. Maybe you're working on some beautification project. Maybe you're just working from the heart on what, or I shouldn't say just, maybe you're working from the heart, and that is the best thing you can do no matter what it is. And then with the sextile to Mars, there's that opportunity to bring in relationships and more balance, into that creative project. And then with the trine back to Chiron, your greatest gifts, and then Eris bringing in the energy of courage to help you do that. I absolutely love it. And with the other, so you can see, so that's the one aspect of the architect. Here's the other up here. The moon is involved in this one, otherwise it wouldn't be there. But again, 4 a.m., Friday the 22nd, South Node is involved, the wisdom of the past, trying to bring through equality. And because the opposition, I'll just reiterate again, because of the opposition of Eris to the South Node and joined up with the North Node, it's the struggle for feminine equality. And for any vulnerable, anyone that's vulnerable, feminine, children, elderly, immigration because of all this Pisces energy. So all those things are on the table. And then with this triple trine up here to the moon, there's a lot of energy, a lot of fiery energy that gets us going, excuse me, in the right direction. When Sag is in that, last 10 degrees of the sign, it brings through that ability to focus into, what it is that you really want to do. It helps us to speak up. Sagittarius energy helps us to speak up It helps us to have more faith in ourselves. Most of all, to explore what brings meaning and purpose into our lives, what we really believe in, and then gives us that freedom to explore, right? Because there's nothing worse than not being able to explore. Like, imagine not having books or information or things like that. This is this fascist, dogmatic, type of regime that is trying to keep people from being free, so that, because they want us to be slaves, right? Silly people. So there can be an epitome of religious and patriotic type of dogma that we might be witnessing on Friday, but we'll just send them love, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm going to go vote blue all the way because we're not in a cult. So let's see, anything else? The sun here is in, oh yeah, and for tomorrow too. The sun at 29 degrees Virgo is in an inconjunct quincunx to Saturn. So again, adjustments to be made by those who are stuck in victim mentality. Adjustments we will see about bringing more divine order in. Maybe there's an announcement. Maybe there's information that comes out that proves how the dogmatic right has been holding back immigration for so long, and now there are some states that don't have farm workers, some states that don't have all the service that they need, because maybe they're in a tourism economy, but now they don't have anyone to work in their hotels anymore, or their food service, or you know what I mean? And goodness knows all those souls who have, I'm thinking of Tuberville, and his abuse of the military. Well, how many people who are immigrants who get their citizenship by going through the military. What if we don't have that anymore? So there you go. The moon is also in conjunct Uranus down here, so again, some attitude adjustments that will be made because of these things I think that are going to be coming out in the news on Friday. So there's that. But now for us who are working in the light, these adjustments can be more to our attitudes that help us strengthen our healthy belief systems. And they're when you've got that, you've got it all. Saturday, we have the first day of fall. Yay, it's autumn. And so right here, you can see the sun's at 0 degrees Libra. It comes in at 12:14 a.m. Pacific. And what is important about this chart is just to remember that Libra energy is a bridge to all things more peaceful. It's cardinal, expansive energy that includes others, that is fair and just. So we have, those 31 days of Libra energy to open up to healthy relationship and to do everything we can to have a really healthy relationship with ourselves first, because all relationships are a reflection of our inner relationship. The outer is a reflection. All relationships are mirrors of either what needs to be healed within or where we already are healthy. And a lot of times it's both. A lot of both. So when they're mirroring our wounding, at some point you realize what's going on, and then you stop taking it personally, and you look at them and you go, who do you think you are to be talking to me like that, or doing that to me, or now I know I can't trust you, things like that, right? So Libra season will bring up all relationship issues, but it will help you expand your consciousness in a way that is healing for everyone, because it's never good to allow anyone to verbally abuse you or put you down and judge you, because what happens in that, little, I guess I'd call it a vicious circle there, is that you're teaching them that you'll let them treat you that way. And so there's that victim, abuser going back and forth, and then it's like, oh, who's doing who kind of a thing, right? I guess it's like the victim, persecutor, abuser, just going back and forth, trying to win something. And when you don't need to win anymore because you know who you are, then the jig is up. So my heart goes out to anyone going through that. I've been through it, and you do what you got to do, and like they say, keep on dancing until you don't want to dance with those same people anymore, or they grow, because when we get into Scorpio season, that's the time to realize that the only healthy relationships that are bound for long-term, for longevity, I should say, are those that work on themselves, those who are on the path of transformation, those who want to go deep, those who want to heal. And so okay, so that's kind of the setup for the fall that I'm seeing on a relationship level. But on other levels, it will be around justice and equality and fairness, all, Libra themes. Libra themes are also about balancing, balancing out our soul substance. And you know how it is when you do the deeper work. You have the highs and then you have the lows. But then, and sometimes it'll last a week or a month, or maybe you're working on one aspect of yourself, one aspect of your wounding for months, and you then it balances out, and it's not so high. You don't get the highs and the lows. It's more balanced. So that's another big Libra theme. Other things that are Libra are also being careful about people pleasing and making decisions around not caring what, kind of what the neighbors think, right? One of the challenges with Libra is peace at any price. So if you're doing that, you might be giving yourself away, because it's always easy to say something in a loving way and just say, oh, you don't get to talk to me that way. Nice try, you don't have to beat them up. But you also set the boundary that you're not going to take it. So there's back to that, fairness. Let's see, what else when it comes to this this season, setting off this season for this month, because this is the breaking through point of this month, this sign, this next 31 days. Pluto squaring the nodes, that backdrop is still, actually it's everything that I spoke to in the beginning of this reading. Those themes are still, for this month and beyond. Yeah. And I don't think I really need to add to it. I think that's pretty much it. The only thing I do want to add now these are faster moving, energies. The luminary of the moon in Capricorn is about physically manifesting, and it's, literally hard work or it doesn't have to be hard, but it has to be daily focused work. Capricorn wants to, it's like the nuts and bolts of doing the thing, the whatever the thing is. It's our duty, it's our responsibility to do our best. And with Pluto there, so powerful. The only trouble you can get into with Capricorn is if you're dark. If you just want to be with the status quo and you don't really care about other people and you're narcissistic and you don't want to respect anyone else and you want to overlook everyone because you're above it all, right? That's how you can get in trouble with Capricorn. Now with the trine to Mercury, and this is an approaching trine, so this is this is pretty much all day, well, at least into the afternoon. So because 6 degrees to 12, yeah, this is the beginning of the trine. And what's going to, I think, happen is a lot of information is going to be put to good use with the moon in Capricorn. And what I'm thinking that is about the greed and the distortion of the Capricorn energy. We are certainly learning so much, and we have so many fighters out there. When I see this stellium of Aries energy over here with the North Node, I think of, and I have no idea about their signs or whatever, but I think of people like Sheldon Whitehouse, who's fighting. I think of people like Jon Stewart, who has fought for the 9/11 victims. I think, or first responders, I should say, and anyone who fights for justice and fairness and equality. So, yeah, I think that's it. I'm not really seeing anything else that I haven't already covered. Oh, one little thing. With the moon in this sesquisquare down to Uranus, you can bet that some people are going to stubbornly dig into their not wanting to be exposed. But Uranus Uranus always wins over the moon. The moon just illuminates what's out there, but Uranus has been sitting there going, oh yeah, we know who took the money and where it came from, and yeah, more of that will be coming out. Trust me. Okay, I'm done. Thanks, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll be back soon. Bye.